So yesterday we played Primal Prayers to stock up. I like that list, so I would still recommend that list. But we also talked about building the deck with Birthing Ritual instead. Obviously, this is kind of a hybrid of the Primal Prayers deck and the just green-blue Birthing Ritual deck we've been playing a good amount of. That's playing like Oculus and Harbinger, Neoform. So you're not playing Neoform in this build. Neoform is pretty bad because you can just basically never get Greenbelt Rampager unless you're sacking a token. But I do think that Birthing Ritual is like a pretty powerful grindy tool that digs you for both creature halves of your combo, and then it also gives you a lot of card draw, which in theory is drawing you into your Primal Prayers. I like this build enough off stream to show it off on stream. At the very least, I think this blue-green shell is the direction I want to be going. At the very least, unless the new creature impact trimmers moves the needle from the new set. So we have the combo, we have a Primal Prayers. What we don't have is any blue mana, but I think I'm keeping on the draw. No Utopia Sprawl is also in this build. Kind of simply, I guess, it's kind of difficult to fit them in if we're also playing the Birthing Rituals and enough creatures for Birthing Ritual. But also the Utopia Sprawls were kind of bad yesterday. Like, we kept just getting our lands, like, destroyed by Eldrazi, like, over and over and over again. I don't know if I've ever, like, had a single day where my Utopia Sprawls were that bad. I'm definitely keeping the Coiling Oracle here because if we hit a land off of it, we can win next turn. So the possibility of a turn 3 win is pretty nice. Could also maybe hit a Flare. Okay, command in response. Will the new Ugin have a bigger or less impact to Eldrazi deck versus Ketchamos versus Blink deck in Modern? Okay, so let's weigh the Ketchamos deck, right? Like, Ketchamos is stock. There are a couple of outliers that still prefer the Blink version. I don't think that they're secretly... I don't think they've secretly, like, broken it or anything, but there are some people that actually do prefer that version still, for whatever that's worth. But yeah, I would say that Ugin is going to be kind of an interesting thing. Because I don't know that it slots the best into the existing, like, Eldrazi ramp shell. Although I have felt for a while that, like, the existing Eldrazi ramp shell is a little bit like there's a lot of ways you can build Eldrazi, and there's even a lot of ways you can build Eldrazi that's kind of good against other Eldrazi variants too. So I'm kind of interested to see if any innovation happens, if the stock list becomes different because of Ugin. But, like, you know, I think this is a good example. Like, my opponent could just cast Ugin next turn, Eldrazi or not. Yeah, the Ketchamos decks, they're definitely not very well positioned. So, like, they were really good against Breach initially because Breach was, like, weaker to Thoughtseize plus main deck Relic plus a lot of sideboard cards. That dynamic really changed a lot. All right, let's go for the Birthing Ritual. No longer nearly as weak to those things. Okay, there's an Ice-Fang, and then there's a Port-Mage. I don't think I need any more Port-Mages. Just gotta get up to 4 mana here. Oh, sorry, yeah, I don't know if I'm even gonna... I guess I should change it. Well, I just wanted to add a 9th fetch at first, and then I didn't realize my other fetch was Verdant Catacombs, so we have a Wooded Foothills right now. Ruby Tuesday with the 18 months. Thank you, welcome back. There's a Karn. I think a Karn for Orb are pretty cooked, I guess. They choose Soulless Jailer. Does that... I think that stops Birthing Ritual. Permanent... from Graveyards to Exile. Permanents and Graveyards. Okay, that card does seemingly nothing against me, so that's good. Let's play a second Birthing Ritual, I suppose. We can also attack the Karn. Shaman Unbanned, crazy good. I'm in favor of a Shaman Unbanned, but I'm also not in favor of any card getting unbanned in Modern without Wizards of the Coast extensively playtesting it. So I'm not like 100% confident in its unbanned. Like, I was 100% in Splinter Twins unbanned. I'm probably like 80% in it being a good idea. All right, let's get a Coiling Oracle, so if they land destruction me again, we can maybe get another trigger. We also really want to find a Flare, but I thought the Jailer worked like Cage. Nope. Unfortunate. Okay, another chance for the land. Nope. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to discard the Ice-Fang because I just don't want them to know what's going on. So they cash this in. Hopefully it's a Cityscape Leveler. Was wondering why we're only playing Simic. Is the main reason not to play Bant MTGO limitations. I feel like gaining infinite life with Guided Souls and Shrieking Jaeger Raptor was very real. It was real. However, it was it's not something you can like really actually go for on Magic Online. On Magic Online, the like infinite okay, I get the orb, but the infinite life combo is just it's realistically, if your opponent makes you click through it, you gain like 80 life. It's not. It's something that I've been saying is like pretty real on paper and just not very real on Magic Online. Okay, so you got one Boseiju in the deck. We gotta dig to if we're gonna be able to beat this Torpor Orb. If I was to play this in paper, would I play Bant? I mean, potentially. At the very least, like I'm just deck building with Magic Online only in mind, and I do think the deck would be different. Where this Magic Online, where this I do think this deck would be different if this was paper, but I'm not sure exactly how I'd build it if it was paper instead. I would be interested in going back to the Bant version that we had, for sure. Okay, let's let that go. Is there anything I would really want to hit off the Port-Mage? Probably, if I was to sack the Port-Mage, I would maybe want to hit a 6, but I think I'm not that interested in letting them maybe kill these with like a flashback K return, because being able to activate the Port-Mage is going to allow us to draw 2 cards and start digging for Boseiju. What are my thoughts on Blazing Shoal? Blazing Shoal is not a card I'd like to add to Modern. I wasn't really playing when it was popular, but as far as I know, the play pattern of Inkmoth Nexus turn 1, attack with Inkmoth Nexus turn 2, Blazing Shoal it for turn 2 win. That doesn't sound like something I'd like to add to the Modern format. I'm trying to make gameplay better instead of printing nostalgic cards. That is my goal. Make gameplay better. Alright, I guess a Rampager does block on this board pretty dang well. We can maybe try to like Shardless Agent into... Okay, the Boseiju is now on the bottom. So we know where it is, so we'll know to shuffle before we do anything. Do I want to just put another Rampager in play to kind of thin the deck a little bit? Yeah, I guess so. We have another one. If we didn't have a backup in our hand, I don't think we would. Am I ready for Violent Outburst, man? I was a long time Violent Outburst hater. I'm not super interested in that one coming back. Okay, they brick on their Rumble, thankfully. You know, I don't know. I just want Modern to be a good, fun format is my only desire in this world. Uh-oh, they have another spell. Okay, it's just a talisman. Oko and Ban. Like, so anyone who ever types the words Oko and Ban chat, like, are you being serious? Sincerely, is that a serious comment? Okay, so this gives me the highest chance of seeing the Boseiju. I just shuffled it back in. Another copy of Birthing Ritual. I guess I'll put that into my hand. Then I guess let's go just pick this up, draw 2. Never Lamau, okay. Yeah, I just need to know. Okay, so we need them to brick next turn, and then we have the Rumble. I guess we can see, okay, no Boseiju here. Can I say no to using this ability? I guess not. The ability just triggers. Okay, no Boseiju. Awesome. So we just put 14 non-Boseiju cards on the bottom. So there's we get 5 looks at 14 live draws, and they drew a land that they maybe can't surveil with because they already have a commercial district in play. So I guess with this we get 7 looks, including our draw step. Yeah, so let's make 8 looks, 8 out of 14 chance here. Let's go. Yeah, I'm excited for the BNR to happen. This has been a really constant trend for like the last year, or however long these scheduled BNRs have been happening, is that I'm just really excited for them to get over because I think the dialogue tree is pretty bad, and obviously I'm contributing to it, but the Wizards has like made it an important thing to talk about all the time. But I just kind of prefer to play, and so I may be going to be rethinking how much I allow the ban talk to happen. But obviously the way streaming is in general, it's tough. Yeah, challenge starts in about 25 minutes. On Fridays, I'm live like an hour before the challenge starts, and then if I stream on a Saturday, which has been pretty tough with like wedding planning and stuff, then I start at 10. I still believe some people take statements like Ketra is better than Oko, like, oh, Oko's fine now. Yeah, I feel like that was like the least productive point ever made. Like, there were definitely like boards where Ketramos was better than Oko, and I was trying to like, I thought I was making a really good point that Ketramos is like Oko in the sense that it's a very resilient, very grindy 3-mana card that makes the game revolve around it. I'm like, wow, this point is great, and it ended up being the most like conversation wrecking point I maybe have ever made. So I probably will never compare a card to Oko again. So I do think like Force just exiling their sideboard cards is such a big deal. I even wonder like how far off. Like I do think the birthing rituals we can like move away from them a little bit. Maybe we play 3 Birthing Ritual, 7 of these, no flares, 4 Consign, 4 Force, 2 Force of Vigor. Yeah, just like countering their creatures just basically does not matter. OMG just started talking about Monday Law. Well, Draven, this is the problem with scheduled BNRs is that that's what everyone's thoughts are on, you know. There's basically no, including mine. Like, there's just kind of not a realistic way to focus on the present. At least for me, I'm having a hard time doing it. Like Monday is like just literally Christmas. I forgot to click send on this a little. I think we'll graveyard this. Monday is, you know, they've promised us Christmas morning, and the kids cannot contain their excitement. We hope today to schedule BNR. Of course, I have been saying this for like almost a full year that the scheduled BNRs are like kind of the biggest part of this problem. They make I think gameplay worse. I think they make just you playing the modern format in the meantime worse. They lead to like just bad discourse. They lead to stale, unfun formats. Okay, so gonna have to consign this. This will open up room for my opponent to card. Now, one interesting thing here is I have my Boseiju in my hand. However, it's my only other land. So drawing another land or a Force of Vigor would be really nice. If I drew Force, also like killing their 2 mana sources would be pretty tempting. Birthing Pod's up to 40. Well, this is the thing with Birthing Pod is if it gets unbanned, I don't think it would be very good. Okay, let's play a Coiling Oracle, I suppose. We do have 2 Force of Vigors, so if we have to play our Boseiju this turn, we play our Boseiju this turn. Seems to be the case. I can see the argument where it's nice to know when there's a BNR. Yeah, I understand why they have it. Like, I get it, but I think the upsides just don't outweigh the downsides. My opinion, of course. It does seem like it's something they're pretty committed to, though. A second Myco spawns. Maybe I should have got Breeding Pool. I was a bit worried about my life total. I think this is better for me than them going Karn Orb, though. Okay. So do I want to go? I don't think I want to go Breeding Pool. Breeding Pool plus get one more energy. I think I'd rather beach Surveilling. Okay, so we brick on our rituals. We'll say okay to this. Didn't they say they still do emergency bans necessary? No, that's the problem. If that was the case, they would have emergency banned Nadu, which they didn't do. If that was the case, they would have banned Ring earlier than they did, which they didn't do. They would also probably ban Breach like a month ago, maybe 3 weeks. So still going after my mana, which seems to be the correct play here. We're surveilling. No to that one. Yeah, don't. Okay, Force of Negation is definitely a start. However, but it's not having the 4th mana is going to be really, really tough here. Not hitting another creature. I think I do want to get a Greenbelt Rampager, so I can play another one to block one of these next turn potentially. Chump here, go to 3. Any of my opponents playing Breach in Leagues, I still can. I have not played against Breach in Leagues once this week, I think. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's actual 0 times. But when I've been playing challenges, it's been more common. So I'm actually playing the full 4 Grafdigger's Cage in the turns deck today. Would I play Neoform? Neoform is pretty awkward because it's very hard to get. Okay, good draw. Let's go to game 3. Neoform is a bit awkward because it's very hard to get Greenbelt Rampager with it. You have to sack a token or a Dryad Arbor, which I don't really want to play. On the play for game 3. Alright, keep this one. Devouring some Destiny. It's wild that people were talking about unbanning Deathrite Shaman. Not that long ago, it was a complete no-go and the best one drop of all time, but they're going to get Image Who Happens to most cards back on the table, I guess. Yeah, it's like it's my opinion that Guide, Pride, Tamio, and Tamio are more powerful than Shaman. I think Channeler and Ragavan are like very similar power level. To Deathrite Shaman, but Deathrite Shaman is, of course, much more versatile than these cards, which I think does. Okay, we have the combo again. Just gotta survive. Force of Vigor will help me a lot against a possible Karn. Of course, Shaman is a lot more versatile than these cards, which makes it more dangerous. But I do think Guide, Pride, and Tamio are all more powerful 1-mana creatures than Deathrite Shaman at this point. You know, it's funny, this point has been made a lot this week, but people always used to call Deathrite Shaman the 1-mana Planeswalker. Well, Tamio actually is like a crazy 1-mana Planeswalker. Tamio actually is that. Okay, should I Force of Vigor these, I wonder? I think I should. Although, I guess there's no reason to do it now. I could just, I could pitch a different card. Although now, I just want every other card in my hand. So if I killed these two, my opponent would need exactly Ugin's Labyrinth plus Imprintable plus Karn in order for them to Karn Torpor Orb me, which I think is going to be worth me playing around than like kicking a Mycospawn. Which they still could do if they had an Eldrazi Temple and a Mycospawn. Is Guide or Pride better than Deathrite if the other was banned? I mean, it's not something I would be comfortable saying just because I haven't played a format where Guide or Pride are banned. Of course, them being legal together is a big part of them being good. Deathrite Shaman being legal in a format with fetch lands is a big part of that being good. Tamio in a format with Mishra's Bauble and Mox Amber and Mox Opal and like cards like Faithless Looting is a big part of it being good. So, just not something you could really say, I think. Maybe I should have played the Port-Mage. A little scared of removal. Do you have a graveyard-based brew prime for when people shift away from graveyard hate after the ban? I mean, I have dozens and dozens of graveyard-based brews. I don't have a specific one. I'm like primed up to play. Graveyard that. Okay. So I guess we'll go Port-Mage, Rampager, draw a card here. Okay, Rumble's pretty good, so if they go land destruction next turn, this can be, like, this can let me beat another land destruction spell, potentially. Seeing Tommy on Modern make Shaman looks pretty tame. I think there are plenty of unbanned cards to be safe we're trying. Yeah, I agree, I agree. Well, let's go for it here. Not gonna do anything until they make a move, of course. Oh my gosh. I think maybe my opponent realized this, but because I have 3 energy in my pool, I can't actually rampage. If I had drawn another creature for turn, we could have. Okay, pretty unfortunate. It's not like that we could have comboed and we've blundered our ability to combo though, where if we had just cast the Rampager, they K command on the stack. They also made spawns, which is kind of scary, but if maybe they just like devour the Primal Prayers, which is okay because we have another copy. My personal opinion is Shaman is absurdly good. Solo carries games. It gives black decks 5 color mana. Yeah, Shaman's very good. Shaman is certainly very good. So is Faithless Looting. So is Mox Opal. Okay, so we have to go off in response to the Primal Prayers trigger, and I agree it's not a super safe unban. So I would like any other unban, I would want to know that Wizards of the Coast is playtesting. It was good to win this match after my opponent's draws being pretty good. So I'm not super comfortable auto yielding with this on the on the stack. I guess I just wouldn't call it a safe unban. Yeah, I agree. I think I also don't believe it's a safe unban. I of course don't I do not want them unbanning anything without extensive playtesting, which I hope that they're doing. I don't, I would love to hear more about like what their process. I would love to. I don't think that they would probably ever do this. I would love to see like what decks they had built with like Mox Opal, Green Sun Looting. I just would love to kind of get into their head a little bit. So we can play the second Port-Mage to speed this up, but we want to do it when we have an even number of cards in our deck, funny enough. Why can we not combo? So, Greenbelt Rampager is not just spend 1 energy, this card goes back to your hand. This card instead says, if you have 2 energy in your pool, you must pay it, and then you get a 1 mana 3/4, and that's the payoff for the card. In practice, that's not, of course, how we're trying to play with it. That's just usually my thought on the topic. Oh yeah, Spellskite too. Thoughts on Birthing Ritual in the Separate List? We're playing it, and it was pretty good so far. Although it's just my sample size is pretty low. What happened to the No Hit Dark Souls run? I decided to be working on other personal projects. I did my charity mandated 3 extra streams, but I'm not opposed to one day circling back to it. I found like every time I've circled back to it, I remember most things, so it's not too hard to pick up again. This looks like the kind of deck I built with the Mage that came out. Well, it's kind of similar to Dingo's build, although like the big difference, of course, is that you have access to Port-Mage, which I think is just a lot better than Satoro. Perspective of what Birthing Ritual has to the list. Oh, I mean, the card is just like really good and has a lot of synergy. Like you're already playing a lot of like cantrip creatures anyways in this shell, and so the fact that you just chain those together while also digging for your combo pieces, I think is pretty nice. This would be maybe my first time playing against Breach in leagues all week. People trying to get their last hurrah in, I guess. Still turn 1 for our opponent. Awkward the 55. Happy Friday to you too. Okay, Flare is a great draw, although definite downside of my opponent seeing the Flare. Full spoiler out. Not to my knowledge. I'm a little bit behind on looking at spoilers. They've obviously come out really fast this season. But maybe I could start my video this weekend. Probably could. Silly Cheese for tier 1 for 3 months in advance. Let's go. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. As far as sideboard cards go, we do have 2 Force of Vigor, 2 Ouphe, 4 Force of Negation. And then Darthstone with the 21, thank you as well. Yeah, I think this seems pretty correct to try to Birthing Ritual. Well, I guess the problem of Birthing Ritual this into another combo piece is that Flare of Denial gets worse. I probably would take a Port-Mage because I could sack it to Flare if I needed to. Oh, it did just drop. Okay. Well, we can, if we have some downtime between rounds, and we're not cubing yet, we can take a look. 8 months and yet no spike on Dual Commander. Yeah. I just don't know that there's ever going to be an appetite for Dual Commander, at least from me. Well, we might as well flare that. How do you feel about Severance Priest and Abzan Ketramos? Is that the new card? I don't look at brews with new cards because, like, I don't know. My favorite thing to do in Magic is brew when new cards come out, and I always feel like I get spoiled when people share their lists. So I just don't like to look at them. I want to figure it out myself. Try it first. I got a lot of other stuff to do. I'm sure it's Magic the Gathering. I do like Magic the Gathering, but I got a lot of stuff going on. Like I from like the list I've seen posted, like there's a lot that I don't think. Oh, well, they're not. I guess there's not much reason to kill this yet, huh? From some lists at least that I've seen posted, I'm not like too interested in the deck building in general. I guess that's how I put it. A lot of the deck building just doesn't look all that interesting to me. How can players still test breach in leagues? They're just getting their last hurrah, and this happens sometimes. So they probably kill a Birthing Ritual here. No, they let both triggers go on the stack. So we'll just go ahead and get a cantrip in. I'm pretty tempted to go for Greenbelt Rampager here, because this means that I could combo off in response to a Haywire Might, but I think I'm just gonna get the Oracle because I would like another Flare, and we still need the Port-Mage anyways. And we hit a land. Also, if we hit a land, we can just cast the Rampager if we draw Port-Mage to combo off in response to Might. Although I guess yeah. And then if they wait for the Primal Prayers trigger to resolve, we can cast 6th then combo off. Alright, let's get ready to rumble. Okay, we found the Port-Mage. The problem is we didn't draw the Port-Mage for turn. Tough spot. What's the issue? So the issue is that my opponent has a Haywire Might in play. If I want a combo, I can cast Primal Prayers, and if my opponent responds to the trigger, I can't combo off in response. If I had 1 more mana, I could combo off in response. I don't have 1 more mana. That's the issue. It's a pretty interesting hit here. Could maybe save this for 6, but I think it's okay. So if they were comboing, they probably would have got a Mox here. But maybe that's what they want to do, and they realize they didn't tap for mana. 15 matches still going on in the challenge. So they get a Bobble instead. Cracks the Bobble. Look at their top card. There could have been a line where you bait them by going instep, or is it too risky? I mean, it's kind of tough because my opponent they should just kill it in response to the trigger. And this is also kind of like the easier play for them to make, right? Killing it in response to the trigger. So like if that's the easy play for them to make and it's also the correct play, that's usually not something I want to try to play into, if that makes sense. So, you know, we even had some potential to draw into another flare with like the Agent cantrip and the Birthing Ritual if they let me get another trigger on instep off, which they did previously. Are they caught? Do you have the breach? Oh, they do have a breach in the yard. Okay. So if they have a Grinding Station in their hand, we lose. They did keep a card on top with the Preordain. So now they can loop Imries for a little bit, but it costs them a good amount of mana to do this. However, there's a Grinding Station, we lose. Now, I'm not necessarily expecting to win game 1 all that often here. We do have like 10 sideboard cards to bring in. Did I not concede? Oh, 8 sideboard cards. I think we had more yesterday. So I think I'm cutting Rumbles. 1 Ritual, 1 Flare, 2 Ice-Fang. Cutting Rumble's kind of weird, but let's try it. What do you think about splashing blue for Frog and Consign in the Necro Ketchumos stack? My thought is Frog is another way to turn on Ketra and can discard extra Nesco's Necro cards. Consign is a lot better cyber card than Break the Ice. I mean, the biggest issue is the mana, but it seems fine. Obviously, there's a lot of overlapping synergy. Yeah, I lost to Breach round 1. Of course, we're just like a turn slower than them. Again, we lost a die roll. But the matchup in general doesn't seem very good. But only last weekend playing against Breach, hopefully. if they don't ban Underworld Breach or Mox Opal, but I feel like Breach is the more likely ban. maybe I'm full-time cuber. Is Oracle better than Ice-Fang? I think it is because we're wanting a little bit more speed in this matchup. But I do know Ice-Fang blocking constructs can come up. We still have 2 Ice-Fang. Could do like a 3-3 split. Oh, you know what? Tamio actually is a good enough argument for me. It wasn't this Ice-Fang. It was like the Flying Death Toucher Titan plays. That was really annoying against my Tamio recently. Does the blue-black Furge tap for blue or black base? Taps for black base, you might be able to play it. Have expecting a ban of something like Imri or Rumble. I think they've learned their lesson. Yeah, like... it's just of all the cards, like, that it's like the least fun and like the worst design. It is Breach. Is the fetchable Snow Jewel Tapland not good enough to justify one of? Yeah, of course not. Not when Surveillance exists. This looks solid. I think you might still want a Break the Ice. And like in decks like this, you just do overload it. I almost want to keep this against Breach, but I think I have to mulligan. Let's keep. BNR's on Monday. And for my streaming any, that is tomorrow. What's on a mold 5? We're somewhere like early in season 2 for Severance. Land for Collector Ouphe would be pretty good. Six matches in progress, but only 29 minutes on the clock. Okay, 1-1. We can get one more match in. Ain't no way Deathray Shaman gets unbanned in any universe, brother. I don't know. I think it would be pretty fine. But we'll see. Is Amtraptor the only non-rare mythic on the ban list? No, Ponder's on the ban list. What do you think about the idea that man's Skullclamp? I think that's pretty unhinged. Especially where it's like, to some extent, it just feels like this has always been the problem with like ban list talk, is people just agenda post. Like, what are you have no noble intentions with Skullclamp. You don't think Skullclamp's going to make games of Modern better, do you? I mean, if you do, then I don't know. I guess you could just be wrong, but like, I don't really see a world where Skullclamp is like a playable Modern card that adds value to the format. I think we're blocking a Swift Spear here. Okay, the burn matchup is quite bad. Like, IDK where the idea of Shaman would be abandoned WotC or any real Biosphere say something to indicate it, or is it per Hopium specking? I mean, WotC never, like, indicates any card, do they? For me, my wanting to unban Deathray Shaman came from Dingo talking about it. And also my general thinking that a format where Deathray Shaman is good and playable is, I think, a preferable format to what we're playing now. There's also like an unbelievable amount of cards in the format that punish you for playing Deathray Shaman. It's like Wrath the Skies, Flage, the new Ugin, K Command, K Return. Not to mention just the 1 mana removal spells. All punish you really bad for like choosing to register Deathray Shaman. And I feel like it would be pretty reasonable. Frozen with the 48, thank you, welcome back. But I think you can make plenty of arguments against it. I don't think it's like a sure thing. Yeah, I think I cut the agents. 1 flare. 1 oracle. Frozen the 48, bolt with the 21. Hope y'all doing well. Out of curiosity, why are we on oracles now? Just needed more blue creatures? Or maybe one of Rogue Refiner over the 4th oracle? And maybe, but like we're playing them so we can be in on Birthing Ritual. Not that Rogue Refiner would be bad with that plan. Doesn't Deathray Shaman punish grave strats too much? I don't think so. Especially where, like, right now there are currently not really many, if any, viable graveyard strategies, but let's say that isn't important. Like, I think Goryo's would be able to play through Shaman pretty well. They play a lot of creature-based removal. If Breach is getting banned, but Breach would play through it pretty well. The card Flage kills Deathray Shaman before it can be exiled. Hollow One is, like, it would be good against Hollow One, but there are a lot of tools that Hollow One has to fight that one as well. So, I don't know. I think it's kind of just fine. In fact, I do think a lot of the attitudes when it comes to Deathray Shaman feel just pretty outdated in my opinion. I would have said Deathray Shaman shape before Catch Your Mouse, now I don't know. I agree Catch Your Mouse is a red flag, but I'll also say that the Catch Your Mouse decks at the moment are pretty damn beatable. However, I of course would not want it unbanned without testing. Okay, we're going to Boseiju the Eidolon here. Yeah, this new Ugin also punishes Deathray Shaman strategies like to an unbelievable degree. To like a comical degree. It's either unban without testing or no unban. I don't know. I mean, someone in the chat recently said that they claim that Wizards claims that they do testing. That's not something I've heard them say, but it's maybe something I've missed. But I agree. They need to do it with testing, of course. Maybe me and Dingo could test it for us. There's just no time, and like it's not that interesting, I think. Especially because we can't test it with the new Ugin, which is going to be insane against any deck playing Deathrite Shaman. I will say, as far as like the Shaman enabling Ketchamos things goes, I think maybe people still don't exactly understand that, like, I mean, and obviously these two cards have synergy and it ramps at turn 2, but the really good enablers for Ketchamos exile the whole graveyard and let this. Oh, they have 2 Searing Blaze? The really good Ketchamos enablers let you attack and block with Ketchamos when you untap with it. So this is like Psychic Frog, Relic of Progenitus. Even cards like Nile Spellbomb are probably underplayed as like Ketchamos enablers. I'm not personally let's see, take Rumble. Probably gonna lose this game. Like the ones that like Felia, Emperor of Bones, and obviously Shaman is much better, so like I'm not saying they wouldn't be very good together. But like those are not as good enablers as for Ketchamos for whatever that's worth. I think I already know the answer. Do you think Dragon Tribe will ever be viable in Modern? Well, they sure would have to print a lot of good dragons. I think the new dragon with Storm, I think that card is good. I think that one will see some play. And be good against Deathrite Shaman decks. Okay, so we have the Oracle to block here. Probably should have sacked before casting this. Could have drawn a Boros Charm. Can you elaborate on how the new Ugin deck punishes Shaman so much? I must be missing something. Yeah, I mean, if you have any experience playing with Tron strategies against I guess I'm going to hold this Woodland in my hand to cast something with the 6. Shouldn't be a big difference between being at 2 and 3. Like Tron strategies punish Deathrite Shaman decks historically. They punish mid-range decks. Ugin specifically exiles all the colorless permanents you could ever want, effectively. And Deathrite Shaman and decks playing Deathrite Shaman happen to be playing a lot of colored permanents. Can you see 1-mana Changelings make use of Mox Jasper? Yeah, there is a combo deck that uses the Changelings, but I don't think that deck's likely going to be very popular. Also, decks that play Ugin can play K-Return. K-Return is great against Deathrite Shaman. K-Command is great against Deathrite Shaman. You're like, I broke the format. I played my Deathrite Shaman. I'm on the draw. Oh no, K-Command, you've just 2-for-1'd me. I don't know. I just think it's going to be fine. Okay, so there are 39 minutes on the clock. Let's be greedy and let's start a Vintage Cube draft.